Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again. This is World Combat Sportsman, Trilla Fight Club in the building. We have undefeated, 7 victories, 0 defeats, 2 coming by way of knockout. Man, Trilla Fight Club in the building. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, the one and only Quinton Randall. How you feeling, bro?
How you doing, bro? I'm doing good.
Hey, man, I know you've been busy. You getting ready for this fight card. I'm not saying it's going to be something that's weighing heavy on your mind because I've seen your fights. But first and foremost, thank you for dropping through and providing me with this interview. And let's kick it off, man. It's a lot to talk about, but we're going to try to get through it. How much time you got?
Nah, I got time. I got about a good hour on my hands, so I got time.
Okay, for sure, bro. All right. First of all, man, it's well documented. I've read so many articles about you and your life journey and what you've been able to accomplish and spreading the message from then. So let's go back to when you was first starting off with boxing, bro. You said you initially began at 13 years old, man. What brought you to the sport?
Yeah, I started out like 12, 13. I was always fighting. It ain't never been a time in my life where I never got into fights. And so and I've always loved boxing. And so I actually had never been in a pair of boxing gloves before. I used to watch it on TV. And so there's some kids in the neighborhood who had some gloves, and they was in the gloves competing with each other like this in the streets. And so me being the kid who I was at the time, I loved fighting. So I wanted to get in them. And I got in them. I was like maybe 12, 13. I got in there with somebody who was like 15 and 16. And I was doing pretty good for myself until he hit me with a punch. And he rocked me. He gave me a stone. He hit me so hard, gave me a headache. And then ever since that moment, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to be a boxer. I want to be a fighter. And so I fell in love with it from that day on.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Most people shy away from that, but sometimes, you get the ones who's bullied or so forth, and they turn to combat sports. That's what's up. What was the initial gym you started boxing in, man?
The first gym I ever walked into was George Foreman's gym.
Okay. Yeah. And that's in what state?
That's in Houston, Texas.
All right.
Yeah. And so I did that for a couple months, but the fight never stopped on the streets. So my mom felt like boxing was going to make it worse. She didn't know too much about how I can discipline you at the time. So she felt like you ain't stopped fighting in the streets and you still fighting in school. The more you learn in boxing, you're going to think you're a badass. So you go like, yeah. So she took me out. So I didn't actually step into a gym again until I was 16. But I kept a pair of boxing gloves. I kept 2 pair of boxing gloves with me at all times. I used to walk around the neighborhood and the neighborhoods next to mine. I used to ask people when I see them, hey, if they was my age or close to my age or my side, hey, you want to get the boxing gloves?
Yeah.
So I did that every day for years, like years. I just walk up to a complete stranger. Hey, bro, you know how to fight? Want to get in the gloves? And
what ounce gloves you using back then, man?
Back then, I was using 14s.
Oh, okay, 14 ounce. Okay, that's what's up.
We were using 14s back then. So I used to bring them to school. Like, there was no place I didn't bring, whether it was school, somebody's backyard, walking in the neighborhood. Yeah, I never went nowhere without them.
So let me ask you this: when you was growing up and everything, what led you to having those, temporary downfalls in your life? Was it just the people or your peer group that you was hanging out with? What was your influence that kept you on that road for that period of time?
It was my peer group. I mean, my mama was a hardworking, single, independent mother. I mean, she did the best she could for us. Like, I can understand we never went without clothes, whether it was from the thrift store, whether we got it from the mall. She made sure she kept clothes on our back, food on the table, and a roof over our head. So even though we lived in the projects, we never went without lights. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We never went without food. She made sure she worked. I mean, we didn't have the best, but she made sure she provided. So it was just pretty much my peers who I was around. It was a little older crowd than I was, but I was known in the neighborhood for being a good fighter for somebody that was so young. And yeah, when I just started following with the wrong crowd, it's pretty much my peers.
So when you was out there, was fighting what led you repeated offenses of, assault or what have you? What actually led you to being incarcerated, man?
I mean, yeah, which time? I started getting incarcerated when I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
It never stopped until I got out of prison when I was 20.
Was it all for the same thing, like fighting or what?
Nah, it was multiple different things: fighting, having guns.
Okay.
It was a plethora of things.
But hey, this is where the turning point was there, Quinn, because you end up getting out of incarceration. You made a decision, and you say, I'm not trying to go back there. So you went to the gym, and you made a commitment to stay in the gym.
Yeah,
How was that breath of fresh air, man, to finally be in the environment that you've been hoping for a long time? You said you used to be in when you was incarcerated. You used to, I guess tear the mattress apart and use it and shadow box and practice boxing while you was incarcerated.
yeah. I couldn't tell the mattress apart. I used to roll it up the best way because there's some thick ass mattresses. So I would roll them up the best way I could. I would tear my sheets up and use my sheets to keep it rolled up, and I would hang them
Yeah,
on the bunk. And I was getting subscriptions of the Ring magazine at the time, and so Bernard Hopkins give you tips and instructions on how to throw the proper punch in the back of the magazine. I would just use that the best way I could, and so I'm pretty sure my form and technique was all wrong at the time, but it was what I had, and so I did that for months because like I was in a 6x9 cell. I was in pretty much 24-hour lockdown. We didn't go out, so I needed something to do to keep my mind out being treated like an animal. But at the time, it was all deserving. I deserve everything I got, and so I was blessed and fortunate enough to get only 3 years on top of all the stuff I done. I supposed to still be there to this day. So
okay.
I just had to take it on the chin and be like, hey man, it was a learning experience, and so that's why when I got out, I was like, man, when I get out, I'm going to the gym. I'm gonna give it my all, and I'm gonna see where my feet land. And so I went from fighting in the streets to fighting in the cells to fighting in strip clubs to being on the USA team. Now I'm a pro, so it's been a
When
long
you,
journey.
how did you get that lifeline, man? It came a point in time where you made the decision to say, I want to be like on the USA boxing team, and being that you did have a past, but within that past, you matured from it. So you went into a situation where you had some individuals that was more experienced than you, but they end up making you like the leader, right?
Yeah, like no, I never had any plans on going to the Olympics or going to the USA team or Colorado Springs. I thought that was just out of the question because I was already a convicted felon, and I knew I had a late start in it. So my goal was to getting out of prison. I didn't know how the amateur system worked. I didn't know all the nationals. I didn't know nothing about that. So the only thing I knew was get out of prison, train, and go fight pro. And so, but then when I got out, I started to learn the ropes. I started to study how the system goes and what you needed to do. Now I could have did that. I could have went that route, but I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if I did that.
Okay.
So, and I'm very harsh on myself. I'm a very harsh critic because when I got out, I was looking at younger fighters that was 7 and 8, 9, 10 years old. That was nice. And I was like, I don't look like that. You got to look like that before you even decide to go pro. Like, I'm comparing myself as a 20, 21-year-old man to 10-year-old kids because they was nice. They formed, their technique, the way they was, their IQ at that age. And I was like, yeah, you fall behind. So I was always honest, brutally honest with myself. Like, yeah, you fall behind. You got a long way to go. Don't rush it. And so I was like, Bernard Hopkins had a late start. So you can have a late start too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fighters who had late starts, but he's probably had the greatest run of a fighter who ever had a late start.
Mm-hmm.
So it started late and it ended late for him. So yeah, like I never had plans of being on the USA team, man. I went to several national tournaments, several Olympic qualifiers. And so that last one that I went to, I was like, okay, I had a choice to go to this last national tournament or go pro. And so I was like, I'm gonna just go to this last one and I'm giving my all. And I actually won it. So when I won it, they was telling me like, okay, you coming to camp. And I was like, shit, what camp at? It was like Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center. I was like, damn, for real? So I didn't even think that was part of I didn't even know you had to go through all that. So they was like, yeah, you're gonna compete internationally, fight this tournament against these countries and this country. I was like, shit, hell yeah, let's do it. And so I seen it as me building more experience because I see a lot of pro fighters. I seen a lot of fighters that take fights with people that's foreigners that they don't know much about from like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, them Great Britain fighters. And they go in there and get their ass whooped because they don't know nothing about their styles. So I was like, because like I said, at this time, I'm a student of the game. Like all I did was eat shit, sleep boxing. I study boxing all the time. I watch boxing. I kept it with the amateurs. I kept it with the pros. And so I was like, man, I want to fight somebody from Russia. I want to fight somebody from Cuba, Kazakhstan. So I was like, so when I do go pro, I can know how their styles are. And so that's pretty much what I did. And at the time, I needed it. It was instrumental to my mental status at the time, and as far as healing went, as far as molding me into the man and the fighter that I am today. But I didn't know you had to go through all that. It just became a part of the journey. And so I just went for the ride, and I'm still going for the ride. So
yeah, for sure, man. But you did a tremendous job, man. I'm gonna tell you at the end, it's gonna be a storybook. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
I'm getting to the point where, you know, they look at you as that leader on the USA boxing team, and then you turn professional at 28 years old, which you mentioned. You know, B Hop being incarcerated got out, and he was able to have tremendous success. You know, in the sport of boxing. I see you, and I'm looking at some of the techniques that you applying in the ring. And I'm saying to myself, like, he's knocking out dudes with O's on their record. And I remember you making a statement, you saying you was coming to take their O's. One in particular is your last fight you had in 2020 with Juan Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had boots in his father, you know, as his trainer and everything. And I noticed how you use your range very well in your defense. One thing Bernard did when he boxed, he didn't seem like he was working. You know what I'm saying? Like he always felt like he always looked like he was a professor. Mm-hmm. And when I seen you in that with Juan Rivera, he was like pushing the pace against you, but you just maintain your composure. You use your defense well. Your timing was on points. That step back game was crazy because you got this thing where you step back and you was landing that uppercut. You know, is that something that you worked on all the time? Because it seemed like you've been doing that for years.
I mean, yeah, I worked on. I land my uppercut almost on anybody I fight. I don't care if you're orthodox, southpaw. It don't matter. I'm gonna land I'm gonna land that uppercut. It was just with him. I made sure I landed it to the body and not his head because I wanted to slow him down. Okay. His head was always a moving target. He was always going from side to side. So if I missed it, I'm too far out of pocket. It's too hard to come back from an uppercut at that range, especially when he's coming in head first. So I'm gonna go for that body. That body can't move. And so
see, that's what I'm talking about. Your astuteness to the game, because I said the same thing when I was looking at that fight. I said he's targeting the body, and I was trying to process why, you know, Juan Rivera was leaning over, you know, big time when he was rushing in. I say, well, his head is right there, but like you just said, the body don't move. You know?
Yeah, I let the straight punches go to the face, but I wanted them fours. I wanted anything that was coming on around the side. I wanted them to go to the body. Because I knew he was going to come out with a strong pace. When you got 4 fights and 4 knockouts, all you've done is knock people out. Then you got an opportunity just like me. You fighting on TV, and this fight can change your life. If you beat another undefeated fighter that was on the US 17 as a team captain. So I knew he was going to give me his all. So I knew he was going to come aggressive. But one of my biggest attributes in the ring, I know how to stay calm. Even if you're pressing the gas, you can be whooping my ass, but I'm going to still remain calm because I'm going to get mine. I'm just gonna remain calm. I mean, you can't think. I mean, you're hot-headed. You can't think when you're panicking. So I think I've mastered that, staying calm. And I did think that probably came with my life circumstances and everything that I've been through. Just learning to stay calm.
Well, you definitely was entertaining. You know, I did learn some things. I was like, man, you know, you up here basically applying the technique that you don't see in fighters at this point in time. You just gradually step back, either a half step or a full step, and you was able to land that uppercut. Your jab is punctual, you know what I'm saying? And then your defense, you know, some fighters look like they struggle to use defense, you know, especially with their back up against the ropes.
And to be honest with you, I gave myself a D- in that performance. Like, I'm way better than that, especially when it comes to southpaws. I never had a year layoff in this sport. I never had a 6-month layoff. But this is the first time in my whole boxing career where I was off for over a year. And so I felt it. I felt the ring rust. I felt the missed timing because it was a lot of opportunities. And me being in my zone, me being in the fight mode, if something's about it been just nonstop fighting, I'd have stopped him. It ain't no doubt in my mind I'd have stopped him because I've sparred people 10 times better than him in the gym that are southpaws.
Okay.
And I do them so dirty, and they're way bigger than him. So cutting that weight after a year, and then during that quarantine, I gained more weight than I normally ever have. I started walking around at a weight that I'd never been in my life. So cutting that weight, being the year layoff, it threw me out of out of fight mode. Like when you're in the amateurs, like cause the year I turned pro, I had 6 fights that year. So I was steady active. Each fight I got better and better, better and better because I was in the zone. I was always in the groove. With that one, when a whole year went by, like it was like, damn, it felt like I was starting fresh from scratch again. Like I was having my pro debut, and I was like, yeah, I just wanted to shake out the ring rust. I wanted to get right back at it and fight again before the year was out, but I didn't get that opportunity. But I got this one. But as of right now, I'm in my zone. Like as far as the sparring I'm getting, and for this fight, I'm in my zone, and I don't see this fight going 8 rounds. I don't plan on it going 8 rounds. But if it do, it do. I mean, I never go for the knockout. I'm not considered a knockout punch. I got power. I've hurt several people, but I don't never go in there for. I love the sport of boxing. I love to box. I love, especially when the fight going in deep rounds. I like to test myself. I like to see where my mind goes. I like to think. I like to think in them deep rounds. I like to read body languages. I like to play chess. So all that excites me.
So what was some body language that was going on with you, you and Rivera? What did you see first with him to know that he was breaking down?
Well, when he came, he was coming aggressive at first, but then I was sneaking little body shots in on the inside, and then when I started landing the forward to the midplex, the solar plex, he stopped coming forward. So when he stopped coming forward, I didn't want to let him break, so I started going to him. Like, nah, it ain't no time to rest. We ain't finna rest. So I don't care if the fight is ugly, pretty, smooth, or knockout. I'm gonna win by any means. So when he started going back, I started going to him just to keep pressure on him, just to keep making him punch, because I was confident in my defense that he wasn't gonna land too much of anything solid, but just kept going to his body. And by the time, and it worked out for him because I feel like he probably won like the first 1 or 2 rounds, and I took over after that. I probably gave him 1 round, maybe 2, but I figured he was gonna come out strong. It didn't bother me. Like my next opponent, I expect him to come out strong because he got a similar story to my own. Like, well, I'm pretty sure he hasn't fought in a while. He's fighting on this card. He's probably seen it as an opportunity to get his career back going. And for what I understand, he's been to prison too. So he may have kids he's fighting for. He got every person that I fight at that time is the most dangerous person I've ever fought thus far. That's how I look at them all. I don't care if they're a journeyman. I don't care what they are, because who I am, if you get a dub on me, it'll boost it'll give you something for your career to keep you going. Yeah. And I ain't finna allow that. I can't allow that to happen.
I totally understand, man. You say you've been in there with the likes of Charlos, Errol Spence, and I believe you said you was in there with Terrence Crawford, just to name a few, right?
I've been there with Charlo, Jamel Charlo. I've been there with Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Shakur Stevenson, Jared Hurd, Rosario, Regis Progress, Oceanique, Fawcett. Man, it ain't nobody who I almost haven't been in there with. I haven't been in there with.
Who gave you the best work out of that group, man? Who gave you the best work?
Out of that group, it was between Crawford and Earl gave me the best work out of that group. Now, don't get me wrong, Shakur is a wizard of his own. Like, Shakur's a motherfucker that's hard to even touch. So, but as far as all around offense and defense, I would say probably Crawford gave me the best work.
Oh, that's what's up, because he's a switch hitter. Give you different looks and everything while you're in the ring. That's what's up, man. It's good to know that. She was able to get in there. So this fight, I did interview your opposition early on, and like you said, he's had his hiatus out the ring for a minute, but he seems like he's motivated to step back in there. And the same as you had a short hiatus since last year, not as long as he has, but it wasn't anything except positive vibes, man. He ready to go ahead and see what he can do against you, and he didn't say anything about winning, but I know both of y'all gonna step in there and try to get it in, man. Let's talk about this Trilla Fight Club, man. How did they link up with you, bro?
My manager is over the Trilla Fight Club, Peter Khan.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah, so that's my manager. And so, yeah, that's my manager. And he was telling me before he made the deal with Trilla, he was like, man, Q, I got, because I also supposed to be on a couple top rank cards. And he told me, like, I was in camp getting ready, and he was like, man, you're not on the cards. He was like, man, I got something big and better. I can't tell you right now. Just hold fast, and I promise you when this deal go through, you ain't got to worry about fights no more. I was like, all right, cool. So I put my trust, even though I was disappointed that I didn't get the fight, because me as a fighter, all I want to do is fight. All I want to do is just get that recognition that some of these other fighters got that I want to take from them. Like I got a hit list, and I'm gonna get to it. So
okay.
So when I put my trust in him, and he ain't let me down yet. So it was a good, but yeah, he's the manager, but he's not the manager. He's over the entire Trilla boxing program, basically.
I felt that it was a blessing, when they speak of Peter Khan initially, coming to speak with you, and he pretty much put it out there. He's saying, I'm not about that foreplay. I get right down to it. Are you going to be a problem? Then you basically said, no, I'm good. I'm gonna give you everything I have. And it's been a matrimony, a boxing matrimony ever since with you and him, man.
Yeah, man. Peter, my guy, man. I ain't got nothing but love for Peter, man. Peter, he came for me because at the end of the day, you can say what you want about me. You may not like my style. I don't have a boring style, but I know it's different strokes for different folks. Some promoters and managers look for different things in their fighters. And one thing they look for is youth. Even though I'm 30 years old, I don't have a lot of wear and tear on my body that somebody's been fighting since they was 8 years old.
Yeah.
That's why when you see me fight, you would think I've been doing this since I was a kid. And I haven't. It's just because I studied it. Like I became a student of the game. Like I studied this shit day in and day out. And so as my life now is just boxing. I train 3 times a day. Even in my off season, it's no off season, but even when I'm not in camp, I still manage to train twice a day. And so I don't work. This is all I do. This is all I know. I mean, I have other skills, but I don't have other passions. I'm not in love with anything like I'm in love with this. And so, yeah, so at the end of the day, they didn't come for me. Like Top Rank didn't come for me. All these managers and promoters didn't come from me. I reached out to some of them. I DM Eddie Hearn. I DM Roy Jones. I DM a lot of people, Matt Sharoon, and none of them got back to me. And so Jay Prince, like, I'm from Houston, born and raised in Houston. Jay Prince had a lot of fighters. He got a lot of fighters that like half of his stables are people I was on the USA team with, like my brothers. I love them to death. Troy, Duke, Jared. And so, but he went for them. He didn't go for me. I'm from the H. And so, and he seen me spar. He know what type of person I am. He know what type of dog I am. But
yeah,
I considered it. I just looked it up as they don't want to deal with nobody that's my age. And so I was like, that just motivated me more. I was like, all right. And so once the wins come, and they've been coming, and I keep getting on these big shows, then when they do come for me, because they're gonna come, I'm gonna stay with Peter. I'm like, nah, because Peter came for me when nobody else did. So he's been transparent about the whole process of how we gonna do it and the way we gonna move. And me and my coach was in a total agreement. It ain't gonna be no easy, but ain't nothing I've ever done in this sport been easy.
Yeah.
And so, but we ready. We ready to take on the. I got hopefully 4 or 5 fights this year. I'm most definitely looking to take on some top competition towards the end of the year. At least my last 2 fights. And so
you're gonna stay at 147, right? What made you drop from 54 to 47?
Man, them niggas at 54 big. Yeah, I can't do it.
You said you sparred Jared Hurd.
Yeah, I sparred
Jared Hurd big as hell.
I sparred Jared Hurd. I sparred Charlo, Rosario. I done sparred these top 3 guys at 154. And don't be wrong, I hold my own. I never have a problem holding my own in sparring. But I don't walk around like they walk around.
Okay.
They walk around weighted big. They be in their 180s, 190s. And so I've never naturally been a big person. I fought in the amateurs. I fought 152. I walked around 154. So as I got older, as I started to get up, I'm probably like 160 something. So going to 147 is the most logical thing. And I'm a big 147. So, and it's something, and so, yeah, I just want to stay there. I'm going to stay at 47. Now, don't get me wrong. After I win my first world title at 47, defended a few times, unify, and I'm going to 54.
Who do you see as a big name right now at the top tier at 147? Because it's only a breath away from us getting the big fight, between Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford if it ever happened. Do you believe that fight's going to happen or not?
Man, I pray God to do. And
Okay.
I got my personal opinion of who I think gonna win. I never share it, but I'm leaning more towards one fighter than I did previously because of that activity. But
Okay.
man, my hit list, man, I'm trying to get Blair Cobbs. I want him. I want Brian Sabalo. Me and him went 1-1 in the amateurs. Every time we fought, it was for the championship. So I got my sights on him, but I got my sights on anybody that's at 147 that's ranked above me.
Okay.
Period.
How did you grade that performance, that fight that just happened between Virgil Ortiz and Maurice Hooker?
It was a good fight for Ortiz, but I would have loved to see how the fight would have went if Hooker didn't break his hand, because Ortiz's face was tatted up. He was touching him, and it'd have been interesting to see if that fight would have hit that 10, 11, and 12 rounds, someplace Virgil ain't been before. Well, Hooker has been before, and Hooker's in great shape. Now, I just was curious on see where it would have went, because Ortiz is an explosive fighter. I think his defense is bad, but he's most definitely explosive. But I would have loved to see where it went towards the later rounds. But I tip my hat out to him. He won it. They both from Texas, so I salute both of them.
Yeah.
But I can't lie to you and say I was impressed by Virgil. I've never been impressed by him. I like his explosiveness, but that's about it.
Well, at least you honest. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you keep it honest, man. That's one thing that's gonna always put you up there with being honest with yourself in the ring. You gave yourself a D-. I'm like, damn, if that's a D-, they in trouble. You know what I'm saying? If you keep on fighting the way you are, and that was a D- performance, they in trouble with you moving forward. So, do you plan on continuing to fight on Trilla? Is it that type of promotion, or or they allow you to fight on Trilla and then top rank or whatever your manager gets you?
Trilla doesn't sign fighters, sign promotion.
Okay.
So I can fight on any network I want to. I'm still independent as far as that goes. So, Pete, I can fight on the Trilla card or the Zone card or Top Rank card, whatever Pete puts me on. So our options are broad. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm pretty sure this won't be my last Trilla fight. I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
So, yeah, so it's wide open for me. So whichever show they got, like, and I'm the type of fighter that stay in shape. I'm never too much out of shape at all. And so I'm looking to catch one of these top ranked fighters that they got signed and beat the brakes off of them, or one of these zone fighters they got, or PBC, it don't matter. Fight one of their fighters that they got stock in. I go in on the B side because I'm comfortable with who I am and what I can do. I go in on the B side and beat the brakes off of them. And so, but I still don't want to sign a deal with them at that point. I want to be able to go to the next. If that same as I got to fight with PBC and I beat one of they stocks, I don't want to sign with them. Then I'm gonna go to the zone, do the same thing to them. I'm gonna go to Top Rank, do the same thing to one of them. And so, because Pete is well connected, he's well plugged in. So I'm 100% fine doing it that way. I like being independent because it gives me a sense of hunger, more hunger than what I already have, because I feel like they were sleeping on me and they didn't want to deal with me. So if that's the case, if you ain't want to offer me a seat at the table, I'm gonna beat the brakes off every last one of your fighters you got in my weight class until you slide me up a chair.
I got you. I hear that. I got you. Andrew Charles said Randall versus Cobbs will be a good matchup. I can see Cobbs being attracted to fighting on Trilla if he got the opportunity.
Yeah, Cobbs got a fight coming up on the 24th of, I believe, this month or next month. One of my homeboys out of here named Marquise Taylor was trying to get a fight with him, but they turned him down. I would understand why, because Marquise will break Cobbs' will. But now I'm most definitely looking to get the fight with Cobbs. I'm 100% looking to get that fight with him. So my man Pete is gonna make that happen towards the end of this year. If not this year, it's gonna be next year for sure, unless they turn the fight down. But I'm most definitely looking to get that fight with him.
You got people in the live chat giving you shout outs, man. J8 said, Quinton Randall, salute. Saw your last fight. You're a good fighter. Keep going. Andrew said, salute, Quinton Randall. J8 asked, how was it for Quinton being a sparring partner for the Charlos?
Well, not for the Charlos. I only sparred Jamel. Like me and Jamel, I've been in like 2 or 3 Jamel camps. And I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's good work. I always got to be on my P's and Q's because Jamel a heavy hitter. So when I'm sparring people like him and her, it keeps me sharp. It keeps me on my toes. It keeps me on my P's and Q's. So when I'm sparring anybody else, I make sure I don't get thrown out, because if I'm sparring them, they're the highest caliber competition I'm sparring at the time, and then I go spar somebody that's a little bit beneath me. I want to make sure I stay sharp and make sure I stay disciplined, because I treat them all the same way, because I used to have a habit of sparring to my competition's level. I still win, but it wouldn't help me. It wouldn't help me. So if you ain't got no business being in the ring with me, if I'm not working on something in particular, then I'm gonna get you out the ring.
Turning pages, in the topic of discussion there, Randall, is well documented of the adversities that you had in your life. We both had similar adversities, but speaking more so on your adversities, I know you had mentioned doing a speech of yours to make sure you put your shoes up underneath your bed. So when you grab them, you have to be on your knees and, then pray and be thankful, for the blessings that you have. How often do you, you have those mental conversations, those reflections about your adversities in life and losing your children?
I had them conversations every day. It ain't nothing. It ain't never been a day in my life where a day since my son passed, I haven't thought about him. It's a constant reminder. It's a constant reminder of where I'm at now and where I used to be, because I used to be wild. So I have my own house now, and so I have a lot of stuff that a lot of people didn't think I was gonna have, and I came a long way. I still got a long way to go. I've always reflected on how far I've came, and so everything that I want in life, everything that I have planned, is predicated on me staying undefeated in this sport. And so that's why I train as much as I do. That's why I'm always on the ground. Like when I get off this video chat with you, I'm going swimming. And so, it don't stop me. I feel terrible. I feel like I'm cheating the sport if I take rest. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like my opponent is working while I'm resting. Or I feel like even if it may not even be this opponent, it can be 3 or 4 opponents down the line that I'm gonna meet later. But everything I do now prepares me for him later. And so I be thinking, like, I play mental games with myself, but I'm a harsh critic on myself, man. Like, I feel like I'm a great fighter. I'm a good, solid fighter on the way to being a great fighter when all my potential is unlocked. But I'm not there yet. But I need the right opponent to bring it out of me. And so I didn't fault my toughest opponent thus far I fought was that dude Clay Collard.
Yeah. You got a hold of him before he went on his run a little bit.
He gave me all types of hell. So
yeah.
But I was glad
mixed martial artists. Do you think fighters who train in mixed martial arts like Clay Collard, do you think that's something that boxers need to kind of dibble dabble in, kind of learn a little bit of the inside game, the way mixed martial artists, they grapple and clinch up different than boxers? Do you think that was part of his advantage that he had over you? Some of his strong points being a mixed martial artist and a boxer?
His strong point he had over me was they cut weight different than we do. He blew up pretty big. So all the shots that I was hitting him with, he was pretty much able to take them. I mean, I put him down in the 4th, but it wasn't nothing serious. He got right back up like it was nothing. And the inside game, and then he was switching from orthodox to southpaw, and the way he was punching and stepping, he was switching his feet literally from orthodox to southpaw as he was punching and stepping. So it just gave me a kind of an awkward, different look than what I was accustomed to. But them, as far as clinching, they can clinch as much as he wasn't that type of fighter. So I can't say from experience that I've experienced a fight like that. I done been in the ring with some fighters who know how to clinch your arms and lock you down. So and I'm pretty good at that myself. Like I'm real good at that. So I didn't have that problem with him, and I believe so. I did it more to him than he was able to do it to me.
Okay. That's why I asked you, because they do, they don't have a certain stance. They can come out and switch stands any given time. So that's what I was getting at. I did see how he was switching stances on you, and that may provide a problem for some fighters. But yeah, you seem like one of those boxers that pretty much assess the situation, man, and you execute. And going to the body is crucial. You know, it doesn't move, man.
Mm.
Smart.
Yeah, so yeah, man, like I critic like, man, there ain't a day that go by. I'm always brainstorming about where I've been in life, where I'm at, where I want to go, how this journey played out. I never thought about this, doing that. All that stuff plays in my head every day, man. So I just no matter what time of day, I can be just in the zone, morning, noon, night. I'm always in a good spirit. I'm always full of energy. I try to be, even when I'm dead tired, because I know firsthand how short life can be. So I enjoy it the best way I can. Don't get me wrong, everybody gets frustrated, but for the most part, I'm always get the work done. I'm always be grateful for the day, and I'm always be grateful for everything I have. I just keep going, and just take one day at a time, one fight at a time, one training session at a time. And so I never shortchange myself. I'm a train when no coach is there. If they give me something to do, I got to run 20 laps while nobody's looking. I'm gonna run 20 laps when nobody's looking. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm never gonna cheat myself.
Understanding the blessings, man. You know, you heading down here to the ATL. You know, I was actually born and raised in the ATL, bro. And I know you down here. Do you know any fighters down here? You know, have you linked up with any fighters that's out of the Atlanta boxing
No,
region?
I never met a fighter from Atlanta. It's a fighter that I want to meet though. That's in Atlanta. I plan on pull up at his gym the day after my fight. I need to see him. Um, I don't know his name. He was the dude that was in that YouTube that video. He was punching dude in the back of the head. That K Champ dude, C Champ. I don't know his name.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's K Champ. Yeah, it's K
yeah,
Champ.
yeah. I got to pull up on him. I got to see him. So after I win my fight, I plan on going to his gym. And so, yeah, me and him we got a lot of gloves. And so, but other than that, nah, I've never met a fight in Atlanta. Don't know no fighters from Atlanta. Never been to Atlanta. It's gonna be my first time.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, that's something you and him handle. You know, I don't get in the boxing game when y'all have that energy between, you know, y'all the ones splitting the ropes. But I know exactly who you're speaking on. And I know his brothers. You know, I just spoke to his other brother at the Zab Zula Celebrity Championship Boxing. But yeah, for sure, man. Hey, I give it to you like this, bro. You know, you got a bright future ahead in boxing, man. I look forward to seeing you continue, especially at your age, man. um, I had the opportunity to speak with Bernard Hopkins' sparring partner Nazir Graham when I was in Jersey for his Chris Stevenson fight.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very intellectually inclined type of brother and what he was able to learn from B Hop. And the resemblance I see from you, man, it's just like you breaking shit down. You know what I'm saying? Astutely, like you a student. You 30, but you act like you know, you still 19, 20 soaking in knowledge. And that's good, man. That's going to really help you out once you get that shot, bro.
Yeah, man, I still move for my little bros all the time. Whether I see Keyshawn do something or Troy do something, I'm like, yeah, I like that. I'm finna take it. I'm finna use because they done the same thing to me. So yeah, I'm gonna use it. Like I'm always looking to soak in knowledge. I'm always looking to bring in something to my arsenal. Um, but I have my own style of fighting. I use my own. Like I don't think I fight like anybody. I steal one of your moves, but I don't think I fight like anybody. I have a lot of the way I do things is from Bernard Hopkins and from Floyd. Just not rushing, staying calm, breaking your opponent down, and then after you break them down, then you go for the kill. But I haven't had a fight that win. This is my second 8-rounder. My first 8-rounder was a breeze. This is my second one. I expect him to be way more of a challenge because he's 13-2-3. I have no fear when I walk into the ring. It's never a question of are you going to win? It's always how are you going to win? Are you going to win by you knockout? Are you finna win by unanimous decision, split decision? It's going to be an ugly fight or a pretty fight. It's never okay. Is she going to win today or hopefully you win? Nah, it's never that. I don't hope for shit. I know.
Yeah.
And so I'm going in there with that mindset. You got to take it from me. By taking it from me, you got to put me to sleep. You got to take it from me because I'm coming there with everything. I'm coming in there with the whole arsenal. I'm not playing because this fight is just one more step closer to me getting to my ultimate goal. And this is a man that's in my way. Like I said, I understand it's pretty much he got a similar background to as far as street goes. And I hate that he been off so long, but it's my job to secure my future, and it's his job to secure his. So after I finish whooping his ass, he can go home, take that check, and go feed his family, and then hopefully he can revive his career with the next opponent. But he ain't finna revive it with me.
I feel you, man. Definitely. Major Key Boxing said, what does he think about fighting Fedora Spencer? Since they're coming up and can steal the thunder. Now he fights at 47 at Major Key, so he ain't at 54. Fedora is at 54. Yeah, Fundora is at 54. Sebastian Fundora. Yeah.
Oh, that tall dude.
Yeah, that real tall dude.
Hey, I like him. He nice. I like that. He nice.
Yeah, he can box his ass off to be so tall and lanky, man. Real tall. I thought Javante Clark beat him though when they fought.
Yeah, hey, I did too. I'm gonna say a lie. I did too. But Javante, man, Javante got that Javante a real good fighter. He got that Peter Khan that Amir Khan symptom.
But he didn't get dropped during the Sebastian Fundora fight though.
He did, but he didn't got dropped in a lot of other
I know his last fight he got stopped by Goucher. But yeah, I was like, damn, you know. But hey man, you have any final words for your supporters out there, bro? I really appreciate your time and being able to talk to you, my brother. You got any final words for your fans out here, bro?
Man, I just want to thank y'all for supporting me, man. It's just the beginning. By the end of this year, we're gonna be 12-0, or at least 11-0. But that we're gonna keep that open, that's for sure. And I promise you, it ain't gonna never be a fight where y'all gonna hear me say I ducked or anything. I want all the best. I want anybody that's in my way. So, man, this is just the beginning. So for those of y'all who don't know the definition of 55 strong, man, you're gonna find out sooner or later. But man, like I said, I appreciate the love and support, man. Just enjoy the ride because I'm enjoying it.
Where can they follow you on social media, man?
You can follow me on my Instagram at quickdraw_P4P. And same thing with my Twitter, quickdraw_P4P.
For sure, man. Hold tight for a minute, man. I'm about to close this out. Hey, for everyone that tuned in, man, appreciate you for pulling up on World Combat Sports. Salute to you until next time. Be sure to check out my next live at around 10:40. I'm going to be interviewing former UFC champion Frank Mir for everyone who's tuned in. So salute and appreciate you pulling up. Hold tight for a second.
All right, go ahead.